And now let's talk to Olexander Scherba, who is a Ukrainian ambassador at large. He joins me now live from Kyiv. Ambassador, really good to see you. Now, two things to break down here. Number one is, of course, the presence of the Ukrainian president at The Hague, and, of course, the latest Russian attacks across Ukraine. Let's begin by talking about The Hague right now. Russia does not even recognize the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. So why is it so important for Ukraine to make sure that Russia is held accountable in the International Court of Justice for the alleged war crimes that it committed in Ukraine?
Well, it just so happens that The Hague has become kind of an international symbol of justice that is possible even to the mightiest politicians in the world. And Putin is definitely deserving his hour in court and hopefully his years in jail. And who else can bring it to him if not the court in The Hague? So the symbolism is there. Of course, it will be difficult, but a long way begins with the first step.
But does it mean anything when it comes to putting pressure on President Putin?
Well, President Putin is probably never going to leave Russia anyways, just because he's paranoid. He is a wanted criminal. So for many reasons, putting pressure on people around him is more important because they know that Putin has no future and they are trying to have one.
And Ambassador, what do you think, in which direction this war is going towards right now? We have seen a significant escalation of attacks coming from the Russian side towards Ukraine in the past few days. And what really stood out for me was when Dasha told us that what happened right now in Ukraine, the latest series of strikes, were not exactly related to the alleged assassination attempt on President Putin. The retaliation will come going forward. So what is Ukraine bracing for right now?
Well, Russia is very afraid right now because they are anticipating a Ukrainian counteroffensive. Quite frankly, I didn't even think that they would be this fearful. They have this imperial hubris. They always saw Ukrainians as inferior people, the villagers, the hillbillies, and all of a sudden these hillbillies are kicking their butt, and they are afraid of us. And they're trying to somehow intimidate us, which is not working, and B, to give some courage to their own invaders, soldiers on the front line. But everything will depend on the success of Ukrainian counteroffensive, and it's definitely coming.
All right, let's talk more about the counteroffensive. Now, certainly we don't know when exactly it is going to begin. What we have seen strong signals coming from the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskky that the preparations have been done and it could begin any moment. But what are some of the biggest challenges Ukraine is facing right now when it comes to that counteroffensive? Because we heard from the Ukrainian president today that there is a deficiency of weapons.
Well, there is one particular area where we have deficiency. It's definitely the fighter jet. And Russia is putting all their hopes and basically all the eggs in one basket, and which is their so-called wonder weapon, these flying aviation bombs, which could be directed anyway. And they are started from the fighter jet, which Russia has plenty. Ukraine has difficulty counteracting against it. So it's some area of worry for Ukraine, but we have many other, reasons to be optimistic. First of all, Russians have no idea what we are gonna do and where we're gonna strike, and and most importantly, we know very much what we are fighting for, and it's our right to be. And Russian soldiers are fighting at best for their possibility to pay their mortgage, and it's a different level of motivation. So plus we have the backing of all decent countries of the world, which gives us courage.
Ambassador Olexander Scherba, it's always a pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.